There is an underlying mathematical continuum or relationship between time, consciousness, matter, and energy. Uh, Now, once you crack this open, essentially your location in time and space becomes arbitrary. Like tuning a radio or an instrument of some kind, you can determine your location virtually anywhere. And I also believe that biological systems are related to this advanced physics. Um, So, number one, we have free energy in the classified sphere. That's fully developed. And the corporations are trying to prevent people from knowing this. Number two, since the 1950s, we have had controlled inertia and anti-gravity. Number three, we have telepathic comm. The only reason I know this is I was targeted with the psychoelectronic weapons. We have large-scale knowledge base transfer. We have physical materialization at the molecular scale, and I believe even more fundamental than that. Thomas Bearden describes this as literally reality engineering. By the way, after you go through all of Stephen Greer's videos, you should go to Thomas Bearden's website and dig up everything that that man has to say, because he is like an intellectual astronaut. He has made the most incredible series of connections and discoveries with the power of his mind. So go and dig up Thomas Bearden and try to find as many videos by him as you can. Okay, number 6, we have interstellar travel. I believe this has been accomplished experimentally. The extraterrestrials won't let us do this on a large scale until we relinquish our permanent warfare economy. We have time travel, and we also have remote viewing, where a consciousness can travel through time to predetermined locations and observe and experience things. We have super advanced biomedical technology that it would look like it came right out of a Star Trek episode. That's how good it is. We have sophisticated contact with multiple celestial peoples, and the ones that we know about are way beyond us, and they're all benevolent. So, what are some of the ramifications for this? Well, for one thing, it's the end of the money system. With physical materialization, you don't need to buy anything. And the extraterrestrial peoples have told us when money ends, the whole competitive warlike apparatus and the setup can be relinquished. That means we can travel anywhere in the galaxy and settle dozens and dozens of worlds. That means there is no longer a reason to fight over territory. We don't need to build roads and bridges and infrastructure anymore because we can use the anti-gravity and the teleportation technology. Uh, we don't really need a university system anymore because this knowledge base transfer technology uh, will make learning, it'll just be so much easier, and all of the scientists will become much more knowledgeable than they are now. They will begin to delve into and cross-reference all of the other areas of study that they're not part of. So a materials scientist, for instance, will have a PhD level in molecular biology and everything else. Uh, Plus, as artificial intelligence advances, all of our learning will be machine assisted. And of course, we will, I believe, uh, begin to enhance our brain at the molecular level with some artificial enhancements, uh, nano machines of some kind. Um, we will basically become immortal. And it's almost like our hellish, backward poverty system is over. And this is a time for great rejoicing. The way it's set up now is they just have this landscape of scarcity, a scarcity of energy, which you must alleviate by spending money on petroleum products. Or we have a scarcity of houses, and you must take a bank loan to pay for a house. A scarcity of food, which you must purchase in a grocery store. A scarcity of knowledge. You must take out a bank loan and obtain knowledge in a university. Scarcity of transportation. You must buy a car from a corporate manufacturer. All of this scarcity-based economy, we will be relieved of all of that, and that's going to be a thing of the past here, uh, if we can convince the corporations to let us do this. Um, and now, how do we do that? How do we convince the handful of trillionaires that runs the world? How do we convince them that it's in their interests to allow us to progress and use the transdimensional physics? Well, right now, even a Rockefeller cannot afford to have a 50-foot solid gold statue of Marilyn Monroe uh, in permanent orbit around the moon. Okay, it would be too expensive for them to have that. With physical materialization and teleportation and all this suite of advanced physics, yes, anybody could have something like that, even though it would be completely useless. What I'm trying to point out is even the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, they will be infinitely more wealthy than they are now under this money system, even though they are at the very apex of it. By adopting the post-money economy and the full suite of transdimensional physics and everything that allows, the very, very richest handful of people in the world will become infinitely more wealthy than they are now. Uh, So even for them, it's a win-win situation. And with the end of poverty and the end of competition, there's really no reason to fight a war over anything anymore. And so you don't have an underlying um, danger that these advanced technologies will be weaponized because nobody's poor. There's nothing to fight over. There's nothing to contest. And this is what the extraterrestrials have told me repeatedly. The secrecy is unnecessary. A dagger and cloak are not necessary, they say. And of this physical materialization, um, they have told me that the symbolism beheld in the mind, that's whatever you're imagining, okay, can be brought to fruition. So this means that an architect, if he is designing the landscape around a building on some planet that we're exploring, he can literally design the palisade of cliffs that that house is perched upon. You understand how radical this is? The human race is going to be elevated to live like a true interstellar civilization. And that's what we have to hope for. And then they've told me beyond these mere material concerns, we will have intellectual contact with ancient beings and with a whole universe of consciousness. We will be spiritually uplifted by this. And they tell me that this will be such a beautiful experience that it's almost impossible to describe to a little mere human being as we are currently configured. So we have a lot of good stuff to look forward to. And there's nothing to be afraid of. And there is no reason to cling to our antiquated systems that have no value compared to what we're being offered now.